Welcome to this video. Today I'm going to explain how to mount a Swarovski DS 5-25 by 52 scope with an SR rail on Blaser R8 Success. So we received an idea for this video from a comment on our YouTube channel. So a viewer asked if we can suggest the lowest mount for Blaser R8 Success standard in 7mm Remington Magnum with a 17mm barrel, 650mm long and fluted. So that's really perfect because he gives us all the idea of how to configure the rifle. So he's asking how to mount this scope with an SR rail on his rifle and what would be the lowest option. I will also add a bonus to this video, and I will compare the mounting heights of a version with a tube, 40mm tube, and the SR rail tube, because this is also a question we have received many times in the past. So if we go to our configurator, let's start with a Blaser R8. It was really perfect because the viewer specified almost everything on his rifle. I will add a couple of additions because I believe that in Success we can make the rifle a little bit more spicy. So I will add a wood grade of 7. All the options are from the catalog of Blaser. Then I will, on the stock option, I will add a pistol grip and I will go with a mouflon, because if you're buying a rifle like this is something you almost need to have. And also the bolt head needs to be gold and the trigger has to be gold. Let's say that you're configuring it well. Okay, and the barrel, so standard 17mm diameter, 7mm Remington Magnum. So this is here, and 650mm of length and fluted. Okay, so now we have a rifle of our viewer. We can add it to our mechanical matching configurator where all the dimensional interactions are calculated. And let's add a scope. So a Swarovski DS with an SR rail like this. And let's start with the standard original Swarovski QD mount with the lowest option. So low, there are only 2 options in height with this mount. And now we will put this scope approximately 28.5 centimeters from the stock. Okay, and now we can check all the dimensions. Okay, so you see 28.5 centimeters from the end of the stock, and we have 7.9 millimeters, so 8 millimeters of distance between the objective bell and the rifle. I also did the same configuration with the same rifle with different mounts. So here we have an MAK or Michael Alikiewicz mount from Germany. You see it's 11 millimeters, so it's approximately 3 millimeters higher. Then we have Inomount, and you see we are always 28.5 centimeters from the end of the stock. It's roughly 11 millimeters, so it's almost identical to MIK, 3 millimeters higher than the original. And then Rusan, which is 6.7 millimeters. So this is the lowest mount. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have the other usual suspect when we are searching for low mounts on Blaser rifles, and that is Finnish Osuma. But I know that they are a little bit higher than Rusan. So I would say the lowest version is Rusan, then it's Osuma, and then it's the original one. However, honestly speaking, because the original one is really nice and it's original, I would forget that 1.5 millimeters of difference between Rusan and the original mount. 6.7 millimeters against 7.9 millimeters. Well, it's up to each individual user. And like I said, if we go to the bonus will be to compare this with a scope which doesn't have an SR rail, but it has 40mm tube. So let's do a similar rifle. I'll be less specific when configuring this one. So just R8 Success. And we say the barrel 7mm Remington Magnum. Here it is. 650mm of length and fluted. Yeah. Okay. And this is a question we receive very often. Is the mounting lower with a rail or without the rail? Yeah, let's find out. So this is the scope without the rail, and let's go with an original mount. There are only one height of the mounts. We have to put the scope backwards toward, we are not able to put it in the same position. That's a little bit problematic. But if we say the dimensions now, it's almost identical. 8.4mm against 7.9mm. So it's almost identical. I think it's really, really hard to notice the actual difference between ring mounts and SR rail mounts. But because this scope is heavy, and usually it's mounted on a more powerful calibers for long range hunting, always go with the rail. If we have the possibilities, choose the rail. I also made a comparison between different mounts with rings. So we see 40mm here, the same with Ino mount. Oh, Rusan. Rusan again, it's a little bit lower, 7.4mm against 8.4mm, so 1mm lower. And then Ino mount, it's 11mm high, so approximately 3mm higher. And you can see that here the distance is more or less identical to the Ino mount with rail. So if we compare this one, Ino mount with rail, a little bit less than 11mm, and Ino mount with rings, 11mm, almost identical. So what we learned here is that the lowest, absolutely lowest mount is Rusan, but it's only marginally lower than the original mount. So I would say majority of people will probably choose the original mount. And there is almost no difference between height in mounting with rings or with the rail. But still, because of all other benefits, use the rail if possible. I would definitely recommend to order scopes with rail. It's also much easier to mount it if you are not a skilled gunsmith. Okay, thank you for watching. If you have any similar dilemma with mounting, please use the comments below or send us an email, and I will do a similar video so that your issue or your dilemma is also solved. Thank you for watching.